emotions and science are on equal playing field. And in fact, right, if you ever think about which one's going to win, it's not what the three of us do every day. Even though the science is good, and even though we've been very intentional about having outcome-oriented type programs and type research, emotions still win. And the space can be extreme. It can be very polarizing. And listening becomes some of the most important aspects in the sustainability space.
Welcome to MeatsPad, a platform dedicated to sharing breakthrough knowledge that is accessible to the meats industry. On each episode, we will hear from meat specialists and professionals to talk about numerous topics in meat science. This podcast is brought to you by the U.S. Meat Export Federation, the Niche Meat Processor Assistance Network, UltraSource, the new standard for innovation. Viscofan is a global leader and innovative partner in the food industry who provides solutions for the casing market.
IFA, slaughter and meat processing tools.
Hello, meat folks. Welcome back to the MeatsPad podcast. Today, we continue our short series speaking with meat industry leaders. And now we have the privilege and the honor to introduce a very, very knowledgeable person in the meat industry. I was looking at her CV and she was a K-State some time ago that I would like to visit about that experience down the road. Dr. Bass, how are you today?
Excited as usual, Francisco. And yeah, we have a great guest with us, bigger than just the meat industry, the animal agriculture industry, really, and a voice for animal agriculture. That's one of my evo missions in life, is to tell the great story that animal agriculture has to tell to the world. And so with us today, Dr. Kim Stackhouse-Lawson. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Yeah, we've been trying to do this for maybe a couple months, and I think it was overdue, talking about animal agriculture. So maybe there's a lot of stuff that we need to condense and a lot of information out there. But could you please tell us, first of all, what's your role right now at AGNEXT at Colorado State University?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm the director of AGNEXT and a professor of animal sciences at Colorado State University. And AGNEXT is a new initiative at CSU that sits between the College of Ag and the College of Vet Med and Biomedical Sciences. For the academics on the phone, it is a provost initiative, which in the time of COVID is impressive. It will be added to the base budget. And we are a group that focuses on developing sustainable solutions for animal agriculture production. So the most exciting thing about AGNEXT is that we will be adding 12 people in a cluster hire. And so these individuals will extend across the university, but all 12 will be focused on different elements of sustainability. So in the past year, we've been predominantly focused on establishing our vision and mission statement. And our vision is a bit different than what you might expect from a typical sustainability-focused academic center. So our vision is that animal agriculture is a sustainable component of our global food system by providing economic, social, and environmental benefits to Colorado, the nation, and the world. So what sets us apart is that we believe that animal agriculture is sustainable today. And our mission is really what defines us, right? And there's some stand-apart things in the mission as well. And our mission is to identify and scale innovation that fosters the health of animals and ecosystems to promote profitable industries that support vibrant communities. So different than traditional sustainability centers, we are a forward-focused group. So typically in sustainability, academics look backwards into time and sort of say, how we did, what did we do 30 years ago and how has that changed sustainability outcomes? So what we wanted to do was develop a team that looked forward, that was really around it was really focused around scaling innovation and looking towards those solutions. Another thing that's different is the call out to profitability and to our rural communities. So what we heard from our industry stakeholder partners is that they couldn't just be economically sustainable, that they really needed to be profitable, and that we in academic institutions could help in the sustainability space kind of scale that innovation to deliver that profitability and stronger rural communities. So one of the things that's different about AGNEXT is that we are informed by an industry innovation working group. And we have 12 people who come from industry who really have inspired who we are, but also set up a continuous dialogue for us. So it truly is engaged scholar, engaged teaching, and engagement kind of through and through, right? So we hear from our industry partners. Our intent is to generate research in a co-developed fashion with them, and then have that continuous dialogue that really helps to inform the sustainability space. So I think that's really what is unique about AGNEXT, is that it's really intended to serve as a catalyst between academic research and industry innovation, focused in the specific area of sustainability, which is of course very, very broad, right? Mm-hmm. And needs to be flexible to meet the needs of our industry partners. Because even in the last 15 years that I've been involved in sustainability, right, it absolutely started as a climate change kind of issue. It evolved through that. We focused for a long time on improvement of efficiency and yield. We've touched on antibiotic resistance. We've looked at social equity issues, in the overall sustainability space. We're back at climate change, but it is a really interesting and kind of flexible space. It's not as defined as a lot of areas in academia. So that's sort of what we're doing at CSU, and we're really excited to be here and to build the team.
You hit on so many amazing points, and it sounds like the mission is exactly what sustainability really should be. It's environmental, which is what so many sustainability missions focus on, but it has to be a balance between that, social sustainability, and then fiscal sustainability, and not just break even, but profitable. If you want to continue to improve on a process, on a mission, on an objective, you have to be able to grow. And that's what profitability helps to allow, is to expand one's resources if there's a good thing going. And you mentioned also that, animal agriculture, man, we've been addressing sustainability concerns for, if you really want to get down to it, colonial times, but in more modern times, you've absolutely hit on the fact that improvements in livestock growth, improvements in not just growth promoting technologies, but antibiotic use and genetics across the board has helped make these animals far more efficient and effective. And without, I get really excited about all these topics. Maybe can you just provide an example of ideas that are being shared right now by AGNEXT, or ways that we, the meat science community, can share the good news of animal agriculture to the world?
Yes, I think that's a really good question. And you brought up a number of things, right, which is that we've been working on this in animal agriculture for a really long time. The challenge in the sustainability space is that the expectations are constantly evolving. And the reason for that constant evolution is that this space, emotions and science are on equal playing field. And in fact, right, if you ever think about which one's going to win, it's not what the three of us do every day, even though the science is good. And even though we've been very intentional about having outcome-oriented type programs and type research, emotions still win. And the space can be extreme. It can be very polarizing. And listening becomes some of the most important aspects in the sustainability space.
The mission of USMEF is to increase the value and profitability of the U.S. beef, pork, and lamb industries by enhancing demand for their products in export markets through a dynamic partnership of all stakeholders. Simply put, USMEF is putting U.S. meat on the world's table. Since 1883, Ultrasource has been a trusted supplier to the food industry. Ultrasource provides superior kill floor, processing, packaging, and labeling equipment and operational supplies.
because as there's a significant gap, right? There's a significant gap in the research, especially related to livestock's contribution to climate change and where companies are being expected to go. Right. So if you think about most of the major meat companies today have set net zero targets, right? And yet none of them have tangible action plans for how to get there, right? And that's not a bad thing. That's not a knock on those companies. That is the pressure that they're feeling from external partners, whether it's board members or customers or consumers or financial partners. All of this is coming right to them. And yet our ability to deliver to them an action plan to get to net zero, it doesn't exist today, right? Like there's just such a significant gap. So what can we do? We can focus on filling the gap. We, from a research perspective, right, we can focus, and I'm very passionate about this, your point around economic, social, and environmental, we have to keep this balanced. It cannot become a one issue myopic topic, because as soon as it comes myopic and one issued, we create unintended consequences. So water is a really good example. If you think about water use in a meat plant, certainly we want to reduce our water footprint from a meat processing standpoint. It's expensive, and we're running out of it. However, what's the unintended consequence of reducing water in a meat plant, right? There's some food safety challenges. What can we never compromise? We can never compromise food safety, right? So that's one example for our meat packing partners. Those sorts of examples of systems and unintended consequences extend everywhere, right? Like they extend all the way down the supply chain. So for example, if you reduce methane in an animal, you may increase hydrogen and lose performance, right? From just the animal's strict biology. And we see that. We see pollution swamping or, performance for a reduction in environmental impact swapping all the time. So our job as meat industry professionals and as scientists more broadly is to keep it balanced, to be very honest with ourselves that improvements need to be made, right? That's the listening point and the innovation point. And then to make sure we're not solving one problem and creating four more, right? We need to be practical in our approach, intentional, right? In the science that we're delivering and the projects that we're really looking at.
I think you mentioned water, and I think that's so important right now. And I have a very good example. And maybe this is going to be off the topic, but this is a real life situation right now in Mexico, especially in my hometown in Monterrey. So it's been 1 month that there's no water, especially in my hometown Monterrey. It's been 3 weeks that people only get water from 5 a.m. in the morning to 10 a.m. So that's about 2 million people, the population of Monterrey, Mexico, and it's challenging for the meat industry in there, because I've been hearing folks and concerns about, okay, if we were in the near future that this is just only a region problem, but if it becomes more like a national issue, you need water for everything. You need water for sanitation. Water is so important, and not only for the meat industry, just for daily things that we have to do. So I think we can maybe just touch on that, because I've been hearing concerns about people, especially in the meat industry. Okay, we need meat, but if you can maybe extrapolate and hypothetically think, what happens if this becomes a country problem where we need water to process beef? For all the food industry, but in our concern for the meat industry, what would happen? Or I think it just reminds me of, okay, this is an issue, and maybe it can occur down the road. Maybe it's not a long term. Maybe it can happen next year. So I don't know. That's a real situation right now. But you can look at it in the news. My parents. So it's just a whole thing. Like when they get home, there's no water. So because the government have decided to do that, to get more even those folks that have a well, there's no water in the well. So it's a situation that it's ongoing right now. So
Yeah, so I mean, water is a basic need, and I am so sorry that your family is experiencing this. That's sad and terrifying. And yeah, I think we don't talk about water as much as we do climate change, for example, and yet it is that resource is directly related to that climate resilience piece, right? So as we begin to see the climate more radically change, water becomes even more finite, and our models, not my models, weather expert models suggest this. And so a intentional and true focus on water use efficiency is going to be critical, and it's going to be critical in our homes, in meat plants, in farming communities, right? And some of that is going to have to be us saying, there's a better way to do this from a policy perspective. I'll give you an example. We're doing, we're adding on to our home. We have, this personally, my home, we have 2 children, and my home is 1,200 square feet. So there's 4 of us. It's small, but we're not doing a huge addition. But we are adding a bathroom. So there's an opportunity to redo some of our a bathroom and moving the washer and dryer. So we actually have an opportunity to take the gray water from our washing machine and put it into a tank. And then we don't live near any navigable water. We live in Colorado. It's the arid West, and to water our trees. We've planted a number of trees for windbreaks and variety of things on our very small little 30 acres. I had to go to the county to ask them for a different kind of permit, even though there's no navigable water. It's never going to touch anything, right? But my husband and I feel strongly that water is really important. And this is such a tiny thing, right? In comparison to Monterey or in comparison to a meat plant. But those are the kinds of things we are going to have to think about. How do we do a better job cleaning water? How do we do a better job pulling soap out of water? How do we do a better job recycling water in our meat facilities and still getting the food safety opportunities that we need there? How do we do a better job in our farming communities? How do we incentivize more efficient irrigation systems, right? And is that something that from a policy perspective, we should really think about potentially subsidizing? I think this challenge around water, it is the most basic need, right? It is what we all need. And we're going to really have to start thinking about that. And I really hope that, I don't think it will enter the sustainability space, right? And every time it does, something like this it gets very emotional. It can get very polarizing, but I hope water stays out of some of that. And I hope it just becomes something that we all are committed to doing a better job with, no matter, any political view, because it's going to become very challenging.
You hit the nail on the head. It's all about it. We're all in this together. We all have a common interest in this, in that we want clean water, we want safe air, we want good ground to continue to grow our crops and food and everything. And so, and that's that emotional connection that I know I've had the opportunity to go undergo media training in the past. And you gotta come back to what is the common ground that we can all communicate on, and nobody out there, no farmer or rancher wants to abuse the land that provides their livelihood, right? And so that's kind of part of the discussion that we continue to have with those who are not in animal agriculture. And we applaud the work that you guys are doing there. What, for the listeners out there, how can they learn more about AGNEXT and the goals you guys are undergoing?
Yeah, so we're still a very small team. So there's a big team coming, right, in the 12-person cluster hire, and we hope to have 5 of those hires completed by the first of the year. So they're coming very soon. Right now, I'm the predominant scientific lead here. I have a postdoc, Logan Thompson, who's actually for a little call out to K-State. He's headed to K-State to be an assistant professor there. So we're going to lose him in a month, and then we have a manager of communications, Jen Reeskamp. But our website's the best way to reach out to us. If you have any other questions, though, we do have we're doing a better job on social media. So that's the other thing I would say we do. When we're thinking about these 12-person faculty hires, our intention is to keep this multidisciplinary, to include our PR professionals, because like your podcast, I really think that as scientists, we need to do a better job. We can't just publish in journals. We have to communicate this differently. We have to think outside of the box. And so we have a team that will be doing more of that, but we are on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So please, I had to look to her for help. Please do follow us on those, and then check out our website. And if you want to email too, there's an email that comes directly to She and Mine's inbox through the website.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you a lot. Yeah, I appreciate you joining us today. And I think your profile is unique because you understand the industry side, because I know you have experience working in the industry. And then now, maybe I can say lobbying, but you understand what we need, what the industry needs. And then you can be also on the academia side, working towards this issue, and not just water, but everything that we talked today. I value a lot what you do. I admire your work. Keep up. Thank you a lot for all your support, and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, and likewise, really appreciate all you guys do, and thanks for having me.
Anytime. Thanks a lot.
All right.